From 2015, there are terrible memes being circulated at the moment impugning the character of anyone that is or was on the Liberal front bench for doing good work in rooting out corruption. And the memes are hateful and slanderous. They involve a small truth which is inflated beyond all reason. Kathy Jackson, Arthur Sinodinos, Scott Morrison, Eric Abetz, Dyson Heydon, Bronwyn Bishop, and others list with their so-called crimes such as accused Weather Bureau of global warming bias, or violated UN Convention on Torture. Not all the faces in the meme are accused of any involvement with the different crimes described, so that it is Scott Morrison who is accused in the meme of torture. However, not even that accusation actually applies. Scott Morrison hasn't tortured anyone or even stood by and allowed it to happen. Morrison has saved lives by turning boats back and maintaining strong border protection laws. As a direct result of Mr Morrison's actions, refugees have been able to come and settle in Australia in larger numbers than under the Australian Labor Party. Yet the budget has had tens of billions of dollars added to it because money has not been spent on illegal boat people. Fewer people are in detention than under ALP, and all that are being processed by the UN. There is nothing happening which may, to the casual observer, appear as torture when compared to ISIL, ISIS, North Korea, or even Ireland or Iceland. And so, looking at the meme, one asks, does any of it have any truth to it? Viewing the meme and the nasty comments by those largely agreeing with it, one is reminded that public figures need thick skin, which is why Gillard insisted that Thompson not be confronted on what he later admitted were lies to Parliament. Penny Easton was not a public figure when compliant press hounded her and she suicided. Kathy Jackson is not a public figure either. She bravely stood on principle and asked the questions which later got Thompson convicted of minor things. Only Thompson, who apparently lived on similar conditions to Jackson, was not convicted of the same things that Jackson subsequently was. It looks like Jackson has been smeared. Her boyfriend was lampooned by many for representing her and not working. Both sacrificed much for things it is hoped anyone would stand up for. But one has to wonder, seeing the cost to both, if one ever would dare stand on principle, such as the viciousness of those who are part of the Labour corruption. The law must stand for all, not in isolation, or it isn't the law. Thompson was excused of things Jackson has been convicted of, but then maybe the law is different for the ALP and the unions. One thing those named in the memes have not done is drown thousands of people who wanted to come to Australia. None of them are guilty of losing over $600 billion from Australia's treasury to corruption. None of them are guilty of stealing from union members or embezzling money obtained from standover tactics designated for union members. Instead, one who was humiliated before the biased ICAC has been accused of being humiliated by that biased body. One who denounced the bias of Weather Bureau for bias on AGW is accused of making that responsible declaration. One who denounced the ruinously expensive and incompetent Australian shipbuilders as being incapable of making a canoe is themselves denounced for being responsible. But when Australians die in battle from substandard equipment, where will the fingers point then? One who took personal responsibility for expense claims when the ALP have done worse is denounced as the only one to have done so, despite it being legal and legitimate. The Attorney General is accused of ignoring a siege gunman's letter seeking contact with ISIS. It is not sufficient to prevent the gunmen from carrying out their siege. But given what the Attorney General knew, his call wasn't the murderous one. Maybe the ALP should look at the character reference given the gunman by a former New South Wales ALP leader.